trying to figure this out. I've been on just about 5 flights, been to the airport, oh God, 6 times already. No, 5 times already in this month. And I'm not running into these lines. I do have TSA pre-check, so maybe that could be a thing. But I'm seeing all these lines online about talking about TSA and how horrible it is. But the TSA workers has been great. Like, I've never went through TSA faster within the last, I would say maybe like 2.5 weeks. So if you guys are giving them a hard time, just remember, man, they're out here just trying to make a living and trying to just do the thing that they have to do to make sure that they try to get paid. So
Thousands of flights canceled, TSA lines for hours, air traffic controllers working without pay while managing the skies. Day 35 of the longest government shutdown in American history. Over 2,300 flights grounded, 40 airports collapsing, and the politicians who caused it still collecting paychecks. They're not stuck in terminals, not missing weddings, not sleeping on airport floors, but federal workers are hitting food banks while travelers watch their holidays disintegrate. This is infrastructure failure, and somebody decided your Thanksgiving was worth sacrificing for politics. Welcome back to Mind Mirror. Let's get into it.
guys, give them a break. Give them a break. But hey, I don't see what you guys are talking about. I just don't see it.
Today is November 4th, and it is day 35 of the government shutdown.
Day 35. Over a month of federal workers showing up without paychecks, and they can't just quit. They're legally required to work or face consequences. This flight attendant is smart to avoid Newark, LaGuardia, and JFK. When 3 major airports are experiencing massive delays simultaneously, that's not coincidence. That's infrastructure failure. The same people who voted for smaller government are now stuck in 4-hour security lines wondering why nobody's working efficiently. Well, this is what underfunded government looks like. When people aren't paid, systems collapse. Air traffic control isn't a luxury. It's life and death. One exhausted controller making one mistake can kill hundreds of people. If you're traveling during a shutdown, expect chaos and plan accordingly.
If you are traveling, you need to know the airports that are suffering the most when it comes to this shutdown. I'm Cece and I'm a flight attendant and I share all things travel. I haven't been out flying in the last 5 days, but I'm getting ready to go back to work for the next week. And I'm really deciding where I'm going to fly based on which airports are having the biggest problems. I'm going to give you the top 10. I shared a video 30 days ago. The last time I went through a shutdown was in 2018, and it ended up being resolved at day 35. Somebody actually committed suicide at the Orlando airport. If you don't remember, it was really bad. You don't have to take my word for it. You can go to the National Airspace System Status website, and they're going to tell you where the delays are expected and where they're actually occurring. I'll put that website in the comments so you can look it up. So back to the top 10 airports that are having the biggest issues right now. And that could be TSA or it can be ATC related. Number 1 is Newark. Number 2 is LaGuardia. And number 3 is JFK. Then we have our Texas airports, Dallas and Houston. I don't know if you saw the video, but 3-hour wait for TSA yesterday. Chicago, Orlando, and Denver are also having issues. And in California, we have San Francisco and LAX. If you are flying out one of those airports, you need to give yourself ample time to get through TSA, okay? The stress these people are under, going every day, not receiving paychecks. Yes, they will eventually be paid, but who can go 35 days without a check?
At TL Airport, we're going to go through TSA pre-check and see how long it's going to take. I'll start the timer now. All right, so today we got little lines going on. 2 little lines. Let's see how this goes, okay? Let's see how long it takes. So there you have it. That took approximately almost 18 minutes, a little bit longer than any other time I've been here at Atlanta Airport, and it's approximately around 6:30 in the morning.
18 minutes through TSA pre-check at Atlanta? Not terrible given the circumstances. But most travelers don't have pre-check. They're waiting an hour or more. Notice how calm this person is. Prepared travelers adjust. They arrive early, stay patient, and recognize TSA workers are victims too. These agents didn't cause the shutdown. They're just doing impossible jobs under impossible conditions while travelers scream at them like they're the problem. Pro tip: during any crisis, shutdowns, holidays, weather, add 2 hours minimum to your airport arrival time. Bring snacks, entertainment, charged devices, and say thank you to the workers. They're showing up without pay because they care about safety.
And now there's a strong possibility that none of us will be traveling for the holidays. The airports are getting shut down. I was planning to go to New York to celebrate 100,000 followers, and it's looking like that's not going to happen. just let me know if I need to start up Quarantine Live again. Let me know if we need to run that back again, so I can just be prepared this time. Because it's starting to look like we finna be in the house. No, like real bad. Like we finna be locked up, cooped up in the house for a good little minute. And even though not being able to travel and have fun and hang out and turn up for the holidays isn't nearly as important as people getting paid, you know what I'm saying? And having to survive off of what they had, if they had anything before the shutdown. But it's just crazy to think that a lot of people won't be able to travel home to see their families. Like, as someone who recently just like had a parent pass away and who have had family members pass away over the years, being able to see your family, especially when you don't get to see them often, is like, people look forward to that. I mean, so this is, yeah, what are we gonna do?
This cuts deep. Someone who just lost a parent talking about how precious family time is, now facing the possibility of not making it home for the holidays because of political dysfunction. That's not politics anymore. That's human. Shutdowns always hurt regular people most. Politicians still get paid. Their flights aren't canceled. But everyone else? Scrambling. When flights cancel, people lose money on hotels, cars, time off work. Small businesses suffer. Airlines lose billions. For what? Because Congress couldn't pass a basic funding bill. It's manufactured chaos, and the powerless always pay the price. Holiday travel advice. Book refundable tickets. Download airline apps. Sign up for alerts. Have backup plans. And have that conversation with family now. You might not make it, not because you don't care, but because the system failed.
There could be major flight delays coming, and it's not for the weather. Starting tomorrow, thousands of flights per day could be canceled in what the Department of Transportation is calling proactive safety measures. So if you have a flight booked in the next week or maybe even weeks, you may want to check it. The FAA says ongoing staffing shortages at air traffic control centers are causing major delays. And with the government shutdown still going on, they've decided to scale back. We could see flight reductions beginning as early as tomorrow, Friday, at 4% of flights being reduced. And then next week, that number could jump to 10%. Those impacts could affect more than 40 airports across the country. That includes Atlanta, Dallas, Detroit, and New York City. Airlines say they're working to minimize the disruptions. American Airlines has come out already and said that most of their travelers won't be impacted. And United says it's offering rebooking and refunds for any of the flyers that are impacted. For now, the FAA says these cuts are temporary, but there's no telling how long that will last or how long the government shutdown will last. And again, this all comes 3 weeks before Thanksgiving holiday travel.
Starting November 7th, the Trump administration will reduce flight traffic by 10% in 40 high-traffic markets. Airports across the country will face cuts. However, airlines are saying that the vast majority of travelers will not be impacted. If you have an upcoming flight, wait to see if it's been impacted before making any changes. If it does get canceled and you don't like your rebooking options, you are entitled to a full refund if you choose not to fly.
Critical information here. If your flight gets canceled by the airline, you're legally entitled to a full cash refund. Not a voucher, not rebooking. Money back. Federal law. Airlines will push rebooking because it's cheaper for them, but if it doesn't work for you, demand the refund. Be polite but firm. Many airlines are waiving change fees right now, not from generosity, but PR damage control. Download your airline's app before the airport. Sign up for text alerts. When things go sideways, you want to know first, not last. Gate agents can only help so many people, and if you're 10th in line, all good rebooking options are gone. Sometimes driving or taking a train beats waiting 2 days for the next flight. Stay calm and informed. Panic doesn't get you home. Planning does.
Many airlines are now offering increased flexibility if you would like to change your plans, even if you have a basic economy ticket. It's a good idea to check directly with your airline to see what they're offering. In the meantime, the airline experts that I spoke to said you should download your airline's app, make sure you're signed up for text alerts and notifications, watch for any emails about changes, and make a backup plan in case your flight does get canceled. There will be more competition for rebooking your flight, so the sooner you make a decision, the better.
I'm at the airport now, LAX to be exact, and I was originally supposed to fly out on Sunday to go to Fiji, But with everything going on, I panicked and changed my flight for tonight, and it's like super mellow. It's totally fine.
Y'all better stay off them damn planes. Talking about you going away for the holiday. You do know the government has been shut down for 37 days. And these people that work in those airports are not getting paid. Let me say that to you again. The people that work in the airports, government workers, are not getting paid. So how motivated do you think they are about getting you to your destination safely if they're not bringing in any money? From the end of last year to this point right now, how many plane accidents have you seen? And then when you answer that, I need you to answer this. How would you feel if you had to go to a job and you're not getting paid for your job? And truth of the matter, they are about to start closing airports anyway. So that holiday trip that you thought you was going to take, you're not going to be able to take. And if you do plan on traveling, you should be careful which airport you go to. Go to the National Airspace System Status website, and you see what airports you need to be flying from, and you see what airports you don't need to be flying from. You seen how they had all those delays in Houston? You seen how JFK Airport was looking? And then Newark, and then LaGuardia, and then Dallas, Orlando, Chicago, Denver, all having problems. And that's just a few places that you can look up and see that it's a problem with flying from. Those are major places. Sit your ass down.
If you're flying out of Orlando International Airport this Friday or anytime this weekend, you're going to want to pay attention. I'm West 2's traffic expert Megan Mackey at Orlando International Airport. It is Friday morning at 8 a.m. and I'm in Terminal C. You can see those wait times for TSA very low, despite those TSA workers not getting paid amid this government shutdown. So they're still showing up to work, getting travelers through the line. But starting today, Friday, we're starting to see those cancellations by the FAA to help relieve some of the air traffic control stress amid this government shutdown. So far as of Friday morning, 29 flights in and out of MCO have been canceled. Not too many, but just be sure to check with your airline before coming to the airport. Every airline has a different policy when it comes to those cancellations, but we'll be keeping you updated throughout the day here on West 2 as well as throughout this weekend about the cancellations, but we don't want to scare anyone. Things are looking so far so good on this Friday.
Biggest shout out to the TSA at the Detroit airport. They are working during the shutdown right now, and there are airports that are behind all over the country. We're one of the biggest ones in Detroit, and we just made it through so quickly. Thank you to everyone who is working here, and also give all of them a raise immediately. Thank you.
This is the energy we need. TSA agents and air traffic controllers didn't sign up to work for free, yet they're showing up. Why? Professionalism. They care about safety and getting people home. And what do they get? Angry passengers, verbal abuse, blame for a crisis they didn't create. If you're traveling, be kind, say thank you, acknowledge their impossible situation. It costs nothing and means everything. Let's talk wages. TSA agents are among the lowest paid federal workers. Many make under $40,000 annually. In cities like New York or San Francisco, that's barely livable. Now they're working without paychecks while rent and bills pile up, and they're wondering how to feed their families. That's not unfair. That's cruel. When this ends, we'll need these people to keep showing up, keep treating them like garbage, and don't be surprised when they stop caring.
Okay, so I thought this would be really helpful for those who are traveling. We are at O'Hare Airport right now in Chicago. This is the security line. It is not bad. I know a lot of people are worried about longer lines due to the government shutdown, but it doesn't seem to be an issue. I'll let you know if anything changes.
Travel update for everyone asking about the Miami International Airport. So my original trip obviously went to shit, and that's why when people ask why I have so many bags in Paris, because I knew I might get stuck. And you might be like, why are you traveling right now while there's a shutdown going on? Because of the shutdown, my businesses have lost over $1 million in the last month. So I'm not doing the best, and I have to smile through it or else I'm gonna cry. So it's been tough. If you want to know more, pop off in the comments. But my flight tomorrow for Delta Air France has already been canceled. I have a flight next week now. That's why I packed so much. My Chio at the same time, my uncle from Brazil, is also flying in from Sao Paulo, Guarulhos, which is the airport. His flight got delayed 3 times last night. I've actually stayed up all night trying to track his flight. He is at customs now, and it's about a 3 to 5 hour wait. Normally there's 8 to 9 customs agents, but there's only 2 working today.
The government just halted all flights out of New York's JFK and Chicago's O'Hare, 2 of the 3 biggest airports in this country. There's no end in sight, and this disaster is getting worse by the minute.
Well, it's November 8th at IAH, and we made it to TSA in 10 whole minutes. Propaganda is not real.
If you live in America and you are considering flying this week, do not do it. As many of you are probably aware already, the government has been shut down for 40 days. 40 days. I believe this is the longest government shutdown in US history, at least in recent US history. And that means every single TSA staff, every single air traffic controller has been going to work for the past 40 days without being paid. Without being paid. Can you imagine showing up to work every single day, especially in a fucking airport, and you're not being paid? In a response to the ongoing government shutdown, 40 different airports are reducing their capacity, which means long delays, flight cancellations. Obviously, the TSA line is out the door. This is the scene at Newark Liberty International Airport. There is an average delay of 1 hour and 20 minutes. Do you see how many planes are just backed up on the literal tarmac? And this is the classic scene at pretty much every single airport across the US right now. The end is in fact in sight. Multiple different reports have said that Senate Democrats are willing to reach a deal to get the government open this week. This contrasts reports that came out last week where the Democrats obviously won different governor races and different mayoral races. They were going to hold strong. They were not going to reach a deal. But apparently now they are willing to negotiate and they're willing to pass a government deal, a funding deal, so that the government reopens. Because if this continues to Thanksgiving, we are all screwed.
Day 38. Progress. Finally. But this should never have reached this point. The shutdown was completely avoidable. The fiscal year starts October 1st, every year. Congress had months to pass a budget or continuing resolution. They didn't. Politics over people. Now they're scrambling before Thanksgiving because the optics are terrible and airports are melting down on national news. But even when it ends, the damage persists. Controllers are exhausted. TSA agents are demoralized. Trust is broken. Recovery takes weeks, maybe months. Thanksgiving travel? Lower your expectations. Even if the government reopens tomorrow, there's a massive backlog. Delays will continue. Rebooking will stay chaotic. The lesson: elections have consequences. Elect people who don't believe in government. Don't be shocked when government stops working.
We are here in airport of Miami, and I gotta go ahead and tell you something. It is not true. We were here at 8:30 in the morning, and we were able to go into TSA within 5 minutes, maybe the most. And it was 3 of us, and we were actually have been here waiting and everything, having some drinks while we get our plane. We actually arrived 3 hours earlier because we thought that we were gonna have to have a long wait. We didn't have to wait at all. So go ahead and feel free to fly. The people in TSA were really nice and friendly as well. None one was upset or anything. We wish them luck, that hopefully they're able to go ahead and resolve the issues with the government and get everything resolved. But go ahead and enjoy your weekend and enjoy your travels as well.
I'm at Ronald Reagan National Airport outside Washington, D.C. in Virginia. This is one of the 40 airports where the Trump administration and the Federal Aviation Administration have canceled 4% of flights. And it started today, and take a look. Closed, delayed, canceled, delayed, canceled, delayed, on time, delayed, canceled, delayed, on time, canceled, closed, delayed, on time, canceled, canceled. And it repeats all the way down. Those are departures from Reagan Airport. The wait to fly to Reagan Airport is an average of 4 hours today, 4 hours. And right now, if you're wondering the progress on ending this government shutdown, well, the Democratic leader of the Senate, Chuck Schumer, made an offer. Democrats will vote to reopen the government if Republicans agree to extend the Obamacare subsidies by 1 year. The Republican leader, John Thune, said no deal. So it does not look like there is going to be a relief anytime soon. In fact, the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, was talking about the reduction of 4% might go up to 15 or 20%. A lot of air traffic controllers are calling in sick. Some are quitting. Some of them are overworked because they have to do 2 jobs because they have now worked a full month without any pay. By the way, in case you were wondering, members of Congress, the House and the Senate are all being paid during all of this, even though they are failing to come up with a way to end this government shutdown, which is now on day 38, the longest shutdown in the history of these United States.
Longest shutdown ever. Congress still getting paid. The people who caused this mess, the ones who couldn't pass a basic funding bill, are collecting paychecks. TSA agents are going to food banks. Air traffic controllers are picking up side gigs. Federal workers are filing for unemployment. Members of Congress don't wait in TSA lines. They don't deal with cancellations. They don't feel consequences of their failures. But we do. Remember this next election. Remember who let this happen, who voted against funding, who prioritized politics over people. Most shutdowns aren't about real policy disagreements. They're about leverage, forcing the other side to cave. Regular Americans are collateral damage. Vote smarter. Vote for people who believe in governing, who understand dysfunction is the enemy, not government itself.
I'm here 4 hours early because of the scare. There's nobody here. TSA lines aren't even open.
So I had a flight this morning, 8:05 on Air Canada. I was in Connecticut. I take an Uber to get here in time. When I'm in the Uber, all of a sudden they canceled my flight. So it says you were rebooked. So I'm in the Uber and I'm like, oh, okay, great. I'm rebooked for an hour earlier. So I'm panicking, will I even make it to Newark and catch the flight? 7:05 now was the flight. So I say to the Uber guy, I'm like, we gotta go fast. Then all of a sudden I pull up the whole itinerary. Are you ready for this? They rebooked me at a JFK an hour earlier with a 11-hour layover in some place called Port of Spain. Crazy, crazy. So of course I can't take that flight. Wouldn't get in until tomorrow morning. And I was only going away for the weekend for 2 days. So we don't end there, right? So I'm calm. I'm a surgeon. I'm used to chaos. You have to just think logically. So I'm like, okay, talk to a few people here. They're saying, if I were you, I would not travel over the next 3 days. It's going to get worse. TSA said that to me, and the airline counters said it like unofficially. They can't, right? But they gave me their take. So I'm like, okay, I'll go get a rental car. Because I have a Connecticut license and the flight was canceled, they won't rent me a car. Guess what I have to do? I'm going to U-Haul. And I'm going to drive a truck cross country to get back to Utah because I have to be back by Tuesday.
Collectively, with my whole team, we found a solution how I can go to New York tonight. I went to the Virginia airport and I was talking to air companies. There are a bunch of flights that are flying to New York today, but they said that they cannot give me a guarantee that these flights are not going to be delayed, canceled, or they will actually end up landing in New York. So what they recommended is going to Philadelphia because it has a smaller airport. Chances of me actually landing there are higher, and my driver is going to meet me there and drive me to New York, which is like 1.5 hours. Conclusions I'm making from this government shutdown travel collapse is I'm canceling all my flights for the next 2 weeks, and I do not recommend anyone flying right now if it's not emergency or something that's necessary for your work. Even though they're promising that shutdown is going to be over soon, imagine how many people are stuck at the airports that were not supposed to be in. So it will take a lot of time for air companies to actually clean up all this mess. And I've seen so many people being aggressive with employees of air companies yesterday. These people work overtime for free. They're not being paid for this, and you're being nasty with them. You're stressing them out. They're humans. They're not responsible for the shit government is. The same goes to TSA agents. Just try to be nice with everyone because they're doing their best, literally.
So I'm super early. My flight leaves at 8:30, and I got here early thinking that I was gonna be fighting security. As you can see, look at how empty this is. And my flight is on time. Talk to you guys later. Wish me luck. No, I'm not saying that. Nobody. There's nobody here. Look.
I flew out of the Newark airport yesterday, and babes, when I tell you it was my ass, let's talk about it. I flew from Charlotte to Newark on Friday, November 7th, so that was the first day of the flight reductions, and honestly, it was a breeze. I also left at the ass crack of dawn, so it was great, smooth, all right? So on the way back yesterday, we left mad early. I didn't know what the TSA situation was gonna be. I had pre-check, so most of the time, I'm not really worried. My friend did not, so we said, let's get to the airport a little bit early. I posted a video on how TSA looks like yesterday. It was fine. It was a breeze. He got through, I don't know, in like 7 minutes, and then I got through within like 10, 15 minutes. TSA workers, great, nice. Everybody was patient. TSA is not the concern, baby. It's the damn flights itself, okay? I have been checking the United app all day, and it kept saying our flight was going to be on time. My flight is supposed to depart at 7:50, but we're supposed to start boarding at 7:10. And I think around 7:10, our plane was coming in late, but it also parked at another gate. So they had to go drop off those people at that gate and then come back to us. So it delayed boarding by an extra 10, 15 minutes. Not a big deal. We get on the plane, everybody's getting settled. We're pushing back from the gate, and the pilot comes on and he's like, oh yeah, by the way, y'all, we gotta sit on the runway for 40 minutes and wait in line to take off. I was like, oh, okay, 40 minutes, that's crazy, but okay, what can we do? I set a timer. I'm like, let me see how long it's gonna take for us to actually take off. Y'all, it took us 2 hours. 2 hours before we were able to take off. I acknowledge that I'm actually thankful that we were able to take off, because the horror stories I was hearing, I heard that there were multiple people earlier in that day at that airport and other surrounding airports were sitting on the jetway for hours, longer than 2 hours, had to turn back around, deplane to try again just to do the same shit again. So I'm very thankful we were actually able to take off. The pilots were very nice. They would come and update us when they had an update. They'd be like, hey, we're number 25, we're number 8, we're this and that. And it's funny because my friend was sitting next to me. He was like, how are you so calm through all of this? And it's like, I had no choice. What can I do? First of all, we should even be thankful that the unpaid airport controllers are still trying to help us out, because they really could have been like, fuck y'all. And what can we do? So that was interesting. And then on the plane, everybody was kind of getting antsy. People were thirsty, tired. I felt bad. This old man had to use the bathroom, but we're also on an active jetway or whatever. And, you can't be moving around doing a lot. So he had to get up and go to the bathroom. They had to send him back. The flight attendants, I felt bad for the flight attendants because people were kind of getting snappy with them. And it's just the flight attendants have no control. Nobody has control over this. You need to take that up with the government, not the flight attendants, not the pilots. They have nothing to do with this, This is one man, maybe an hour and a half into us sitting on the plane, was talking about he wants to get off the plane. And the flight attendant was explaining to him, babes, we will have to turn this plane around for you to get off. Sit your ass down. Sit down, buddy.
2 hours on the tarmac. Miserable. And once you're on the plane, you're trapped. The pilot can't just let you off without returning to the gate, which puts everyone at the back of the line again. That passenger wanting off would have delayed everyone more. Sometimes you take one for the team. This happens because air traffic control is understaffed and overworked. Hundreds calling in sick because they're not getting paid. The system grinds to a halt. It's not just delays, it's safety. Tired, stressed, unpaid controllers managing thousands of flights is a disaster waiting to happen. When the FAA cuts flights by 10%, that's damage control, not punishment. Flying during a crisis? Expect delays. Bring entertainment, snacks, patience. Be nice to flight attendants. They don't control weather, shutdowns, or tarmac delays. They're keeping you safe in an impossible situation. Can't handle delays? Don't fly, drive, reschedule. Right now, air travel is a gamble.
You got to take one for the team. We're all suffering here. We got to Charlotte mad late. So my flight was supposed to land at 9, basically 10 o'clock. We didn't land till 1 a.m. Okay, correction. We actually landed at around 11:55, and then we sat on the jetway for about 25 to 30 minutes. And then by the time we got out and went to baggage claim, it was 1 a.m. So allegedly they have struck a deal with the, whole government shutdown thing. So hopefully, that the traveling goes back to normal, because Thanksgiving is coming up. But so when I tell you I survived, reminder, be nice to people. Be nice to people. It's literally no one's fault but the government's. Okay? Be nice.
Exactly. Not TSA's fault. Not flight attendants' fault. Not air traffic controllers' fault. Not even airlines' fault. The government's fault. Period. Yet who gets yelled at? The workers just trying to do their jobs without paychecks. Human nature. When stressed, we lash out at whoever's in front of us. But that TSA agent didn't shut down the government. That flight attendant didn't cancel your flight. They're victims too. Redirect your anger. Call your senator, your representative. Write emails. Post on social media. Make noise to people with actual power to fix this. But at the airport, be kind. Say please and thank you. Acknowledge everyone's doing their best in a broken system. Made it through without major issues? Count yourself lucky. Thousands missed weddings, funerals, interviews, family reunions. Because of this mess. The system failed, but the people working within it showed up, did their jobs, and deserve respect, not abuse.
I literally just got to Newark Airport so I could fly to Atlanta and see my friends for the weekend. And because of the stupid fucking government shutdown, Flights are all canceled. And to make it even better, the news reporters are already here, just waiting to interview people, and I hope they interview me. I hope they ask me how I'm feeling because I will let them have it.
42 days. Regular people paying the price for political dysfunction. Shutdowns aren't natural disasters, they're choices. The people who suffered weren't politicians. They were workers without pay and travelers just wanting to see family. That's the human cost. 3 lessons. Be prepared. Systems fail. Be kind. Workers didn't cause this. Vote smarter. Elections have consequences. The shutdown's ending, but damage is done. Trust broken. Workers exhausted. Recovery takes time. Next time someone says shutdowns are no big deal, show them this. Drop a comment. Did you travel during the shutdown? What should happen to politicians who let this go 42 days? Hit like, share, and subscribe. Pay attention to who you elect. They work for us. Stay informed. Stay prepared. Stay kind.